Hello, and welcome to Joline Knits A Lot. This is my show about knitting and all the crafting that I have been getting up to lately. How are you? It's the end of October, can you believe it? I have no idea where this month went. It just flew by. My family, I think, has been busy getting back into sort of a more normal routine with their activities. My daughters are busy quite a few nights of the week and sometimes in the early mornings. In the case of my younger daughter, my older daughter is a dancer. She loves dancing. So she is very busy with her dance group, and she's very happy to be back in person with her friends and her teachers. So that's great. My younger daughter is a soccer player, so she is busy with the start of indoor soccer season. Indoor soccer, where we live, is a boarded game. It's played on indoors on turf on what looks like a hockey rink, and there's 5 players a side plus a goalie. The boards can be used, so it's quite a fast game because the ball is usually in play. It doesn't go out as often as in outdoor soccer, and also the kids there's only 5 on a team on a side, so they're running a lot, and so she's very busy with that. She also joined her school volleyball team, which they have practice early mornings on Mondays and Wednesdays at 7 in the morning. Can you imagine a 13-year-old voluntarily getting up to be at school at 7 in the morning for her volleyball team? I'm pretty proud of her for sort of stepping out of her box and trying out for a school team like that, and also her dedication to being up early. But now she tells me that her band teacher wants her to join jazz band, so I guess it's nice to be wanted. So she has some decisions to make. And that's us. We're busy. My husband and I are busy running our kids to practices or dancing or soccer games or to volleyball. So we're much busier than we used to be. We also have a dog who likes to walk a couple times a day. So I think our days are just filled with activities, with things to do, as most people's are. Everybody has things that keep them busy and things that take up their time. But I'm still finding time to knit. You knew I would. And it's something I really enjoy doing, especially when I have to wait. Knitting is a great thing to do while you're waiting for your kids at all of these activities, or to pick them up from their activities. It's also just a great sort of soothing thing in your quiet time. So I have been knitting, but first I want to tell you what I'm wearing. Today I'm wearing my Spark cardigan. This is a pattern by Andrea Mowry. I do like my Andrea Mowry patterns, don't I? This I knit last autumn. I finished it in September, I think just before my first episode of this show, so that's kind of cool. I knit it in not the recommended yarns, because you know me, that's what I do. I tend to like lighter weight sweaters. I don't like worsted. I find them just too heavy and too heavy, really. And I just don't. I prefer a lighter weight sweater. So this pattern is written for worsted weight, but I knit it in a DK weight for this main color. This is Harrisville Nightshades. If you haven't used it, I would recommend it. It is beautiful yarn. I really, really love it. And the contrast color is Spin Cycle dyed in the wool, which is their sport weight. So I did combine sport weight and a DK for this colorwork sweater, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. So many interesting things. I did do a little bit of yarn management because I wanted the colors to kind of line up. I didn't want it to be completely off kilter, and I think I did a fairly good job. And I have been wearing this sweater recently because the days are cooler, but I find I can get away with this sweater and a t-shirt if I'm just popping in and out of places. So quite happy to be wearing this sweater, and quite happy I made it. And every time I pick it up, it makes me think I should get more of this Harrisville Nightshades. It's just beautiful yarn. I really like it. It's great for color work, and I really enjoy how this sweater turned out. So that's what I'm wearing. As you may know, it's the season of gift knitting, and the only finished projects I have are gift knits. So let's dive right into Joline Gifts A Lot. So as I mentioned, it is the end of October and I am deep into my gift knitting, planning and knitting, and I'm happy to say I've finished a couple of gifts this week that I wanted to show you. This one I didn't even cut the ends off. It's terrible, I should really do that. Mostly I think because I just blocked it recently. But I have completed the Looski hood for my husband. I knit this out of some Malabrigo Rios. This is the Cosmos colorway. It's a really nice pale blue. And as you can see, I had some leftover yarn from the sweater, or not the sweater, the scarf I knit him recently. It was a 2-color brioche scarf, and I used this Malabrigo Rios for that as well. I used the 1 ball plus the half a ball of the Cosmos to make this hood. And then I had some leftover Cowboy in the same yarn. Cowboy is the color. And so I did the inside of the casing for the drawstring in that contrast color, which is the Cowboy. And so when he wears it, you'll just see a little pop of that darker color, which I think is kind of nice. And then I have to say the instructions for this tie, I wasn't sold on. I was a little confused, but I thought, okay, I'm just going to do it step by step, which is sort of my approach to anything. If I haven't done it before and it looks confusing, I just say to myself, okay, step by step, do exactly what they say. Don't think about it too much. Just follow the instructions and see what happens. So I did that for this twisty tie, and I think it turned out really great. I'm quite happy with it. I think it'll make a nice little drawstring. I'll just try it on for you. It's obviously going to be quite big for me, and I blocked it, so it is quite big on me, on my head. I think it'll be good for him. So I think that this will be a great sort of layer for walking the dog or for skiing with a helmet on top. And then if it's cold, you can just snug it up like this, which I live in Canada. It gets cold, so let's just do this. So if you're really cold, you can just snug it right up and tie it. This is probably not how he's going to wear it most of the time. Hello. The thing I like about this pattern, I feel very like medieval knight looking, like if this was chainmail. Yes, that's the feel I'm getting, the vibe I'm getting. Anyway, the great thing about this, see, there's an end I didn't cut off. The great thing about this pattern is that you can just, if you get too warm, you can just flop it to the back like a hoodie, and it's a really nice neck warmer. Isn't that great? I think I'll be making myself one of these. I quite like it. And I think like layering under a jacket, if you had a jacket and you just kind of had it like this with the little hood. I'm a terrible model. Yeah, I think this is great. I think I'll be making another one of these. And that is the Looski hood. I'm gonna go with hood. I don't know what else to call it. This is from Moon and Turtle, which is a book that I purchased recently, and I'm really quite delighted with. For my husband, but possibly for myself as well. And I'm thinking maybe my brother might need one because he walks his dog in the winter, and that might be something he might find useful too. So one gift down, and I have another gift finished. Now this is another pattern that I shared with you. I think when I was telling you about my gift planning and what I wanted to get done. Okay, let's just zhuzh up the hair a little bit. This is the Little Boxes sock. This is a pattern by Summer Lee, I believe. And it just uses up odds and ends of little balls of sock yarn that you may have lying around. So I finished 2 Little Boxes socks, which I think turned out really cute. I used 3 colors of the Exmoor sock yarn that I have. I had purchased a few colors when I was planning on making my mom's flea cardigan in the spring. And so I have like odds and ends of these balls lying around, and I made these cute little shorty socks. I do like this color combination. I think it's a lot of fun. Their colors are very vibrant and lively. And one pair of socks total weighs about 50 grams. So you can use odds and ends of different sock yarns. I didn't weigh each one to see how much I used of each individual color, but the total for the whole pair is 50 grams. And I have some more of this yarn in my little bag here. So I wanted to show you my next pair, I think, will be these three colors. I would like to make the heels, cuffs, and toes in this blue. And then I want to make the body of the sock in this beautiful sort of rich purple color. And then the little boxes in this golden color, which I think will be quite cute for another pair of socks. There we go. So that's next. And these socks were very quick to knit. I quite liked the pattern. There was two things that I noticed though. One was that you had to go up to a 2.5 needle for this body of the sock. I didn't. I just stuck to the 2.5 millimeter needle for the whole thing. And I think it turned out good. I did have a little bit of puckering on one of these boxes, and that is because of where my needles were sitting. I use DPNs for my needles, and I think I just didn't line it up right for the color work to be even. So I'll know that for next time. I made the 68 stitch sock because I didn't want them to be too snug. Color work, as you may know, doesn't stretch as much as normal stocking stitch because of that float in the back. So you can see these socks don't have a ton of give. There's a bit, not a ton. And I wanted them to be more like cozy house socks because that's how I envision my kids wearing them, possibly myself. But I'm really happy with this color combination, super fun. I think I will be maybe putting these into the festive sock along that Stranded Dye Works hosts every year. So I'm excited to enter those, and I think I will be making at least one other pair, possibly probably two, let's be honest. They were super fast and I'm happy with them, the little boxes socks. And that is all of my gift knitting that I have completed. My next up on the needles, as I said, is going to be another pair of little boxes socks. And then I also have some plans to knit some other gifts. Now there was a pattern that came out just this week that I think will make great gift knitting, and that is the Porty hat. This is a design by Isolde Teague. It is a great 1x1 ribbed hat. It's quite classic. You can wear it cuffed or uncuffed. You knit it from the top down. It takes one skein of yarn, and this pattern is brilliant because it is written for every weight of yarn. So you can just go into your stash, pick a skein that you like or that you think the recipient will like, and you have got a pattern for a hat. It's brilliant. This for sure, I will be for sure making at least one of these, possibly more than one. So I have the pattern in my library. All I have to do is have a dig through my stash to see what I have in terms of yarn that the recipient would like. I think I'm going to aim for a heavier weight of yarn, possibly DK or worsted, depending what's in stash, because I think a cozy hat would be appropriate in this climate. So that's the Porty hat by Isolde Teague, and that probably will be going on my needles in the next couple of weeks as well. So that is all my gift knitting up to date. Gift knitting is fun, isn't it? I think it's a great way to explore patterns that you might not necessarily knit for yourself, especially if you're like me and you tend to knit or have sweaters or bigger projects on the needles a lot. It's nice to switch gears and try some smaller patterns for gifts. I really am happy with that hood. I really like the socks that I've knit, and I'm excited to cast on some other gifts in the next little while. I also think it's a really nice way to lead up to the holidays in that every time I'm knitting a gift for somebody, I am thinking about them when I'm knitting it. They're on my mind because I'm thinking about how they'll wear it, if they'll like it, if it's the right color for them. I imagine them wearing it when I see them, that sort of thing. So in a lot of ways, I find it a very great way to prepare for the holidays, or even just to send out love through my knitting while I'm knitting the gift. I don't know if you do that too, but I certainly spend a lot of time while I'm knitting a gift thinking about the person who will receive it. And I think maybe you do too. I have one other work in progress and then some secret knitting. So let's do the work in progress. You may remember these socks. I have been working on a pair of Fluorite socks in some yarn that I picked up at the Prairie Fiber Festival. This design is called the Fluorite socks. It is from an issue of Pom Pom Quarterly. I will maybe pop a picture and definitely link to it below. This pattern came out several years ago, and as I said, I've actually knit this pattern more than once because I think that these socks make great ski socks. When I go skiing, I like to wear a pair of leggings and then some really tall socks over top, and then I slip my boot on, and then I find I don't get any rubbing. So I have finished the first sock, which I believe I showed you last week, but I'll show you again. The Great Variegation, or the Gradient. This is yarn by Ginger Snaps. It is called the Frenzy Sock Kit, and I fell in love with this color when I saw it. Now, this is one sock. If you remember, I popped in a contrasting heel and cuff, and I think they're great. I love how long they are. I used up every scrap of this gradiating colorway, and then once I had run out of yarn, I just started the cuff because I wanted to maximize my yarn. So I did start the second sock, and I have been working away at it in between other projects, and this is where I'm at. Now, both of these socks have a little bit of sort of oddball pooling. Not necessarily at the same spot in the sock, but close. It's fine. It doesn't really bother me that much. This one seems to have some nice lines, but that's okay. What I have noticed is that these, the gradients obviously cannot be exactly the same. Like that would be nearly impossible. So you can see that this one's got a little bit more pink in it, but I think it's still a lot of fun and I really love it. That's where I'm at. I just started the increases for the calf, and I have this much yarn left. So, and then I'll be knitting the cuff. So I'm going to use up every scrap of this little ball because I think it's so beautiful and I want to use it up. And then I'll just pop in the cuff and I will have another pair of socks. Now these ones probably will go in my sock drawer because every knitter needs socks and I like to ski. So that is my work in progress for this week. Now I have one other project that I want to share with you. As you may remember, I have been working on the Stephen West make-along, the Shawlography shawl. So if you do not want to see spoilers, jump to this time. Because right now we're going to jump into the Shawlography shawl. So you may remember that I was using some yarn that I picked up at the Prairie Fiber Festival. That was a very productive festival for me. And I'm really happy with how this project has been coming along. It does use 5 colors, which is a little bit daunting. There have been some really beautiful projects that I've seen that are more monotone or neutral colors. My color palette was more jewel tones, so that it is quite colorful. Excuse me. And clue 1 was this really interesting short row section, followed by some triangles, and some slip stitches, and it stopped at these I-cord loops right here. Yes, the I-cord loops. So then, this is really hard to show you. Clue 2 started at just past these I-cord loops, and it had this nice sort of contrasting garter and stocking stitch section with some slip stitches, and then these welts. So this shawl is really all about texture to me. Then we have these triangle sections and some baubles. Now, I'm gonna be honest with you, I am not a fan of baubles. I don't like them. I think they look like nipples, especially when on a sweater, like a cabled sweater. I do not care for baubles. They're just odd. And the other thing with baubles is that sometimes when you work them, you put all this effort into making a bauble, and then they're sort of flat to the surface of the knitting, and they don't stand out as much as I think they should. I know that's ironic. I don't like baubles, but if I'm gonna make a bauble, I think it should stand out. I am a woman of contrasts. Anyway, this pattern opened my eyes to how to make a very, what's the word? A bauble that pops. So just have a look at these baubles. They're all great. And I have to say, they're just wonderful. And I'll tell you why I think Stephen West is brilliant with these baubles. Oftentimes when you create a bauble, you knit a few stitches, and then you turn your work and you purl back a few stitches, and then you turn the work again, you knit a few, turn it, purl back, and then you pull the stitches over each other until you have one stitch left. So what you have created is a flat piece of stocking stitch, essentially, that you've sucked in at the top. What Stephen West has you do, I love this man, he has you create an I-cord. It's brilliant. So what you do is you knit 4 stitches, slip them back to your left needle, knit them again, and you're creating a tube instead of a flat piece of knitting. Now that tube obviously has got more dimension, more structure. It's going to stand out from your knitting better. This is brilliant. So these, while I don't love baubles, particularly in a sweater, on a shawl or a cowl or maybe mittens, I can get behind them. And this is now how I'm going to do every bauble that I ever knit, ever in my life. Aren't they great? Look at them stand up at attention. Well, boy, I wish I could get them to focus. There we go. They're just great. Okay, so I've learned something from Stephen West. Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate you. The next section after the final section in Clue 2 were these sort of garter stitch stripe wedges or triangles. And what they do, the purpose, one purpose that they serve in this shawl is to make the cast on edge wider. So now instead of having a semicircular shawl, you've got sort of an elongated shawl, which I think is great. That's a great shape. Instead of a half circle, what you've done is stretched out the top part, and I think that'll make it much more wearable, especially for someone like me who isn't very tall. So I like that section, and that was all Clue 2. So Clue 2 started here with these slip stitch sections, and then you did welts, then you did triangles, then you did baubles, then you did this big wedge. So that was a big section. Clue 3 was only 2 sections, and that included some brioche stitch, and I don't know that Stephen West can design things without brioche these days, which I think is great. I do love working a bit of brioche, and because I had just finished a brioche scarf, I was very much in tune with my brioche side, or at least I had a very good understanding or remembered how to do it. So there's my little brioche section. It's very nice, just above these like nice big eyelets. And then the final section for Clue 3 were some crossed stitches. Now these are elongated stitches that you cross over each other in a crisscross pattern. I think it's great. I love the openness there. Now the final clue, Clue 4, has just come out today. And I'm itching to get knitting, but I'll be honest with you. I don't like clue 4. It's not me. I kind of had this vision of how Stephen West was going to finish this shawl, and I'll be honest with you, this is not how I pictured it. So I'm going to go rogue because I'm a badass knitter. And guess what? You can do that too. If you don't like a portion of the design that you're knitting, you can change it. I'm giving you permission. Not that you need my permission. You don't need my permission. All you need is your permission. You just have to say to yourself, you know what? I'm going to try something new. And that's okay. So that's what I'm going to do. Longtime viewers, I find that funny because I don't know that I have longtime viewers. But if you are a longtime viewer, you may remember that I have a thing for feather and fan. So my plan for the edge of this shawl is to knit feather and fan in horizontal stripes with all of the colors of my shawl, all 5 of them. I'm going to knit as much feather and fan as I want. Could be a big edge, who knows? It might be a massive shawl. I don't know. I'm gonna wing it, but I'm gonna knit some feather and fan to my heart's content. That's not right. To my heart's content. Is that right? I'm gonna knit as much damn feather and fan as I want because it's my shawl. I was sort of hemming and hawing this morning about whether or not I would just follow the pattern. Like, this is a Stephen West knit along, and to get the full experience, I should just follow the pattern. And then I thought, you know what? This is my shawl, and I want to wear it. I want to enjoy wearing it. I want it to be what I want it to be. So I'm going off book. Sorry, Stephen. And I'm gonna knit what I want to knit. Somehow I feel like Stephen West won't mind. And if he does, I'm really sorry, Stephen. So I will let you know how this shawl turns out. I do have sort of an end date in mind. I have a goal. Do you do this with your knitting? When you start things, do you think I want to have this done for this date so I can wear it to this event? I have an event coming up that I want to wear it to. And that event is the Edmonton Fiber Frolic. It is in person. Now, in the spring, I attended the virtual Edmonton Fiber Frolic. I took a class on punch needle, which I really enjoyed. And lucky for me and anyone in the greater Edmonton area, the Edmonton Fiber Frolic is going to be live this fall on November 13th, and I will be there with bells on. Okay, possibly not bells, but definitely my Shawlography shawl. There are going to be some great yarn vendors, yarn dyers that I'm looking forward to seeing, including Sassy String Yarn, who is the dyer behind the yarns for my Shawlography shawl. She will be there. So I'm looking forward to showing her my shawl. She sells seashells by the seashore. Ginger Snap's going to be there too, so I'm looking forward to checking out her gradient sock yarns. She also has some gradient yarns that can be used for hats and mitts, so I look forward to just seeing what she has in stock. There are some other vendors, including the wonderful potter behind my favorite mugs, so I may be checking out her wares. And also there will be a few other dyers that I really enjoy. I believe Lily and Pine will be there. They're some dyers out of Calgary, and they have some beautiful yarns. Lily and Pine, I understand, dyes roving, which I may be looking at to make a pair of thrummed mittens for my mother for Christmas. My mom likes to walk in the winter, and I want to make her some nice warm mittens, and thrum mittens are the warmest mittens that I know of. So I do sort of have in the back of my mind some shopping that I want to do at the Edmonton Fiber Frolic, and mostly I want to have my Shawlography shawl ready to wear that day. Yeah, and I'll tell you all about it when I come back. There might be a special Shawlography, or not Shawlography, a special Edmonton Fiber Frolic episode, a short one, maybe not so short, because I'm really looking forward to an in-person event in my town. I'm going with my bestie, who is also my knitting bestie. So she will probably feature in some of my video. If I can talk her into it, I can talk her into it. She'll be in it. So yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to in the next couple of weeks, which means I have approximately 2 weeks to finish this shawl and block it, which I think I can do. I really want to get cracking on this shawl so I can have it finished, so I can get back to my gift knitting, which I have been concentrating on a lot. Now, are you thinking about the holidays? Have you got some holiday plans already? I tend to think about Christmas beforehand, or whatever holiday you might be celebrating. Christmas for us tends to be a time where we get together with friends and family to share baking, I'll be honest with you, to share cookies and wine. Cookies and wine is what the holidays are all about. No, they're not. But they're a wonderful time for us to get together with friends and family. And I like to have a lot of baking around. So I'm starting to plan what cookies I will be baking for the holidays. And my beautiful younger daughter has been making sugar cookies lately, and she's gotten very good. Now, this is interesting to me because I've often struggled to make a good sugar cookie. I don't know, they just don't, they fall apart, they don't cut well, they don't bake well, I don't know. I've never had much success with sugar cookies. But this kid, turns out, makes really good sugar cookies. She's perfected it. She does it by herself. The other day she made a quarter recipe because cookies are her love language. If someone's down or is sad or has had something happen, her instinct is to bake them cookies. So she made a quarter recipe of her sugar cookies. Great for the math skills and great for me because I got to have sugar cookies with my coffee all week. And then she makes glaze, and recently she sometimes will add sprinkles and sometimes not. But I've already told her that her sugar cookies are on my holiday baking list, and so she's got a job to do, which I think she is happy about. So yeah, definitely sugar cookies on my Christmas list. Definitely ginger snaps. Definitely some butter tart squares. Did I share with you my butter tart square recipe yet last year? I think I did. It's really good. Definitely some chocolate chip cookies. And possibly some others. I'm gonna have to check the cookbooks. So I'm starting to plan my Christmas baking, and obviously I'm working on some gift knitting for the people that I love. What about you? Are you thinking ahead? Are you spending some time thinking about your loved ones? I hope so. This week has been a little rough for us. We have had reason to remember that life is precious and that we should hold our loved ones close. So I hope that in the next couple of weeks, you take some time to let the people around you know that you love them, to give a couple hugs if you can, if it's safe, if it's COVID safe, or to text somebody in your life and let them know you're thinking of them. I don't think that ever goes unwanted. It's always nice to hear from the people that you love, even if it's been a while since you got in touch. So much the better to reach out and just say, hello, I've been thinking about you. How are you? I know I've been doing that lately, and I don't regret it. So in the next couple of weeks, I hope you find reason to reach out to your loved ones, to share a little bit of yourself with them, to maybe think about making yourself some sugar cookies, and to craft the things that give you joy and make you happy. I know I plan on knitting a lot. I'll see you soon. Bye.